Great to join you, Will.
All right. You bet, Bill. All right. Our next guest has been extremely vocal on border security, and he just met with President Trump at the White House yesterday. He is the governor of Texas, and he's Greg Abbott, and he joins me now. Governor, great to see you. You just heard that report from Bill Maloogian. You met with the president yesterday, and border security has always been at the front of your priority list. What can you tell us about what's happening right now in Texas?
So a lot, and these are things I talked to the president about yesterday, and that is I have authorized our National Guard that have been on the border for about 4 years now. They have the full authority to assist ICE and have been deputized to assist ICE, doing everything ICE would do, such as apprehending, arresting, deporting, soup to nuts of what ICE will do. In addition to that, the Texas Department of Public Safety is embedded with ICE on operations across the entire state of Texas to root out and to arrest and assist in the detention and deportation of anybody here illegally. In addition to that, what I offered to the president yesterday, we identified 4,000 jail sites that can house up to 4,000 people that they arrest and detain to make sure that the federal government is going to have access to all of the detention facilities that they need. I also identified more than 100 miles of land that Texas has acquired access to that the Trump administration can build additional wall on that will give that land to the federal government for free, as well as we created 2 National Guard military bases on the border that house more than 2,000 military officers that we will provide that to the Trump administration, whether it be for military purposes or ICE operations or other federal employees. So Texas is all in to assist the Trump administration to ensure that we're going to fully eliminate illegal immigration into the state of Texas.
I want to ask you about 3 reports directly connected to our state. And that is, first of all, reports of Mexican drug cartels firing along law enforcement on the American side. Also reports of weaponized drones used against border agents. And then finally, just as a final detail, the Mexican government has suggested they're putting 10,000 federales up on the border to help with illegal immigration. Have you seen evidence of that yet?
So let me take all of those in turn. First, know this, and that is before the recent shooting, before the recent use of drones, now that's happened with regard to Texas dealing with the cartels over the past few years. Cartels have shot on Texas National Guard as well as Texas Department of Public Safety officers, and candidly, we fired back on occasion. And we understand that we're in a hostile environment. Same thing goes with drones. They've been flying drones across our border, and we've had drone battles already. What we can believe is that knowing that the cartel's ability to make money off of traffic coming across the border has been hindered now, they get a lot more aggressive whenever that happens. And so we are anticipating an expansion, maybe a dramatic expansion of the amount of cartel activity on the border that both the state of Texas, but especially the federal government, need to be prepared to deal with.
Governor, what's a drone battle between cartels and I assume American drones? What is that? Is that weaponized drones? What is a drone battle?
What we as a state have dealt with, they were not weaponized. They were flying drones over the border in and around the area that we were operating, and we would use drones to push them back. And so it was just a drone-to-drone battle. But one thing we do need to be prepared for, and that is weaponized drones. And know this also, listen, cartels use drones to drop off drugs and other contraband across the river all the time. And so we're constantly engaged in trying to locate them, find them, and to eliminate them wherever we can.
All right, 2 business stories I need to ask you about out of the state of Texas. First of all, I believe you recently gave your support that you're open to the idea of legalizing gambling in Texas. There's a lot of talk about that, and there's a lot of talk about it when it comes to sports. Do you anticipate gambling being legalized in Texas?
So let me be clear about both my position as well as the way Texas law works. In Texas, gambling of any sort is unconstitutional, and the only way to open it up is through a constitutional amendment. And so what I announced that I supported, and that it was if the voters were to decide that they wanted to support sports gaming, that's something I would be fine with. But as always, this should be up to the people of the state of Texas to make that decision.
All right, so that's a vote of the people of Texas to amend the Constitution to move forward for that to be a possibility. Second business story, Meta is reportedly in talks to reincorporate in Texas. They've already moved one of their content policy teams to the Lone Star State. That's a lot of businesses, a lot of tech industry that is starting to move to Texas.
Texas really is the home of tech. I've been in a deal with Elon Musk back in 2020 to accelerate the process of building a mile-long gigafactory. Elon liked so much the way we do business in Texas, he moved all of his companies to the state of Texas, all of which are heavily tech-oriented. Same thing's happening with Meta right now. Listen, I talked to Mark Zuckerberg, and listen, they're very interested in expanding their operations in the state of Texas. In addition to that, last session, I signed into law business courts in the state of Texas that are now rivaling, actually, an improvement upon the business courts in Delaware. And what Elon Musk and Zuckerberg and others have found out in this, Delaware courts have kind of gone woke and escaped their mission. Texas, however, is going to be pure business courts, and they know that they can come to Texas and have the type of decisions coming from courts that are very thoughtful as opposed to ideological.
And perhaps be listed on the forthcoming Texas Stock Exchange. One more question, though, on that before we go. Exactly. I'm a lifelong Texan, Governor. I can tell you there are people that are concerned. You want to be open to business. You want to be open to people moving to the state. You also want to ensure that the people that are moving here for jobs don't bring the politics from the place they left behind that drove those jobs away. So when you bring in companies like Meta or others from California, how big of a concern do you have about a population of people moving to Texas that don't share the politics or values of Texas?
So I would call it vigilance. Listen, we remain constantly vigilant about that. And what we've seen, a lot of people were concerned when Musk first came and they didn't know who he really was. They thought that same thing was going to occur. But with Musk, with people like Joe Lonsdale and so many others, there's been a massive influx of conservatives in the tech industry that are making Texas more conservative. But Will, let me give you this fact that, people talk about the people moving here. Less talked about are the people who move away. So Texas is number one for people moving from California. Interestingly, there's almost 100,000 people who leave Texas a year and go to California. If you're moving from Texas to California, you know what you're getting yourself into in the California government. My point is this. There are a lot of blue voters in the state of Texas moving to California every year. Okay. We call it a big exchange program that we have.
Okay, all right. That's an interesting statistic I hadn't quite heard about. I don't know if it holds true for the same of South Carolina, Tennessee, and Florida, other states where you're seeing this migration. Governor, great to see you. Thanks so much for being with us.
My pleasure.